So we'll start. So good afternoon, everybody, and a warm welcome to all of you. Once again, thanks to all those who have been coming to our webinars very regularly. This is, I think, our fifth year that we have been doing this non-stop webinars. So every 2 months, we do a webinar on one of the topics of leadership, and at times we also invite some of the experts to come and have a podcast type style session also. And sometimes I do it along with some of our other facilitators also. So my name is Yogesh Agiwal from Crossover Leadership Journeys. So I'll spend about 5 minutes to just give you an idea of the work that we do. And personally, a little bit about myself. So I don't come from a training background, HR from the beginning. I come from a very long IT background. So I used to work at Wipro for a long time, and before that in US for about 10 years. And in Wipro, I had got our Azim Premji's award two times, the Best People Manager award. So our chairman said that those who got the award should go and speak in the leadership program, and I started going, and I spoke so much that one day I moved into the leadership department in 2009, and that is when my formal journey started. So over the years, while at Wipro and then later on, we have been in this space where we also connect everything to business that we do, and you will see that model just coming up. So I'll just take about 5 minutes to just quickly walk you through the model that we have. So I'll just take you through that, and then we'll start the session for now. So if you look at our website, it's very intuitive, and you can also kind of explore that. So there are many leadership journeys that we have. But I think more importantly, what I want to walk you through is the model that we have. So if you click on this button, how we work, you will be taken to a section where it says that a lot of programs are built around content, but crossover is built around context, because we believe that every organization has their own context, and the same content would meet different in different contexts. So we spend quite a bit of time on context. And how do we do that is, I'll show you a very simple infographic that will give you the whole idea of that. So if you look at this, will give you the whole idea that we always start with a listening exercise in any organization. So we start meeting the participants, their managers, management team, HR, and try to understand what has been the history of the organization, what has been the journey so far, what's the culture like, what are their future dreams, aspiration, and then design a journey. So we have an in-house content team that kind of creates a journey which is not just a set of modules, but they are actually a very well curated journey that is built, which is connected with one another. So for example, if you see here, there is a 5 months journey that I have just shown here. So every month, there would be sessions that we will have on a topic which is related to that level. And then there would be a mentor who will get assigned to the entire cohort, and the mentor will engage the cohort with an article, with a video. They will also have to fill in an action learning plan. We'll also meet the participants after 3 to 4 weeks, where we're calling it a leadership lab, in which they will come and share how has been the journey for them. So as you see that all through the journey, they are fully supported, either by the mentor or the facilitator, so that they can see it in real life. Now, while the participants are with us only for a period of time, like one day in a month or 1.5 day, but then the supervisor are all through with them. So we essentially, get the supervisor involved in the whole process. So we engage the supervisor to tell them, what your people are going through, and what you should be asking them. So imagine a supervisor asking the participant about a model that they had learned in the class. Like today, we are going to look at what leaders are refusing to let go. And imagine the supervisor also engages, how powerful this can become. So we do that. We also invite senior leaders to come and engage with the participants. So what happens in most organization is that if the senior leaders are coming and talking, that becomes like a gyan because there is no context to their lecture. So what we do is we prepare the senior leaders and we tell them that, say, assuming even this topic is there, we ask the leader that, how have you been able to handle this letting go problem? Now, when the leader speaks to the participants, it becomes very powerful because hearing from their own leader is very convincing for them, and it is also a great way for the leaders to share there. And the third thing is that, like assuming that a leader knows but he is not practicing, it's a very subtle way to also get the leaders to practice. And the last is that we always do a development dialogue in which there is an event where people come and share how they are going and what has been the transformation they have gone through. So this is the general model that we have. And if you click on the next menu here, you will see all these journeys that are there. So if you see on the left hand side, starting with the first time manager to a emerging leader to a mid level leader to a senior leader. So we have got like different journeys, and I'll not go through all of them now, but you can visit it, you can take a look at this. So this gives a good starting point for the customer. And now, for last couple of months, we have also built a very interesting way of the same model for the industry. So, for example, a first-time manager in the IT industry, a emerging leader in a retail industry, and function-wise. So, for example, you might have in an IT function, you've got sales, you've got delivery, you've got customer support, you've got customer success. So, we have tried to now make it industry-wise, which is a very interesting way to look at, and people can choose, the customers can either look at the left hand side mod or approaches, or they can go industry wise. And then AI is now like part of our life. So while I know that most of us and organizations have started to use AI quite rapidly, but still if clients want to do a AI session which can bring in some amount of consistency in the way everybody is using, then we have two programs on AI for HR and AI for sales and marketing. And again, it is very, very contextual to the organization. So we look at, what AI they are using. They're using Claude or ChatGPT or whatever. And then we use that to, make it very functionally usable for them. So as a group, there is a consistent way of using. And the last is about our executive coaching. So we generally do it for the senior leadership, maybe N and N minus one. And we have got around 18 ICF certified coaches that we deploy, and we have tied up with a lot of psychometric assessment companies. So broadly, this is what we do. We've been doing this for last about 10 years. And Avinash, who is here today, is a founder of InfoBeans. I'm so glad to have him here. He was my first customer. So can you imagine the joy I'm having to have Avinash here with us today? Yeah? So good. Thank you so much, Avinash, once again for being
My
our
pleasure,
first
Yogesh. My
customer.
pleasure.
Yeah, let's jump on to our today's session. So like I'll just give you a brief on what this topic, how it came to our mind, and me and Navneet were building it together. So it is so fascinating to see that, when leaders have certain qualities or certain competencies, which make them immensely successful in a certain stage of their life. And later on, the same quality becomes a hindrance. And even as I'm leading the program now, I am getting very worried about how do we really find out that something that gave me such a big reward, how can that same thing be becoming a constraint for me? Now, at a human level, I mean, at a general level, it is very difficult to find that out. So what I thought that we would do today is that instead of giving you a theoretical, concept which you could actually look at couple of very good people who have done fantastic work, starting with Adam Grant, Michael Bungay, Liz Wiseman. These are people. So what I did is I have been studying all of these people for many, many years. So I tried to bring all these things together in a format that will be very easy for all of you to go back to your organization and for yourself also, see that is that framework. And so we'll run through this whole thing through a case study. So I have like created a case study. His name is Arjun. So Arjun is the main protagonist in the case study, and we have couple of his reportees also will come little later in the journey, and we will go through this journey as he spans through his career. And at some point what you could do is that, or rather at point to point, you can actually start to see reflection for yourself, that if Arjun is in this stage, am I like this in this stage? And that becomes very powerful. And then at the end, I'll give you a very beautiful infographic that runs through this journey together. So when you get this deck, you can print that as a color scheme in one single page, and then use that as a very great reference. For last couple of months, I have been also practicing it myself and seeing how it helps, and it's doing wonders in the way I look at myself. There are some middle parts also that you can also look at it later in terms of, say, emotional intelligence that can be fit into this. But today I want to give you a broad, interesting six approaches that will help us get there. So let me, start the session with this case study. So if I were to look at, so Arjun is the leader that we want to go after, and he I think has been very successful as a team member and a leader at some point. And so he, when we go through this journey, this will be like a spine for us. So we'll spend some time on how beliefs are formed, and see how that belief can impact a leader in his journey. And when we have a strength and if we overuse it, what happens to our team, and how the team starts to adapt what we are overusing. And these are some very interesting, small shift that you will see in this journey. And it will be so fascinating to see that when you look at all of this, you will say, "अरे यार, तो इतना rational लग रहा है." Meaning it is so much rational. How can this become an issue? And we will go through this. And many a times you start also becoming defensive. So when you start to get a feedback, or you start to see that you are coming to a stage where you're not able to grow, and your boss or your management is saying about you that you can't grow, and they talk about why are you not growing, you start becoming defensive about it, because the belief is so strong that it is very difficult for you to take that logic out. And that is what we will do that. And many a times to to protect that defensiveness, or to protect that logical belief, you start also adding more stuff, meaning you will try to do things that will justify, okay, whatever I am saying is right. And that is where the subtraction comes into play. What should you subtract rather than you add? And once you start doing that, you start seeing that, and then you finally say that, okay, now I have seen this shift, and I will, make this commitment. So we will run through like this. So we'll observe Arjun, we'll diagnose him, we'll recognize, I mean, all of us ourselves, and then choose what we want to, go as a different angle for that. Yeah. So if you look at Arjun, I think he is a high performing manager, and he was he was somebody who inherited a struggling function, and he earned a reputation that, I think, anything that is a problem, I think Arjun is there to help. So he kind of got his hands into the problems. He would look at issues with the team, and he started taking a lot of quick decisions to make sure that the customers are happy. He started also reviewing some of the important work. He was always available to to the team, so he would always be there. And I think people started really liking Arjun, because he kind of turned around a very non-performing or a complicated function into a very high performing function. Now my question to you is that, like, what is getting rewarded here? In your own stuff, you can either, open your chat or you can also talk about it. And also in your own thinking, what do you think could also be a challenge if he continues with the same? So although on one hand he is like a fantastic leader, so what do you think could happen in future if he continues like this? I'm just trying to, and will not like really dwell too much upon it, but just to get started. So the question is that, have you seen a leader like this, and what is getting rewarded, and what do you think could be a challenge in future if this continues? Meaning, do you think that this will be good for him forever, or do you think that somewhere this can become also a challenge? So yeah.
I have one point. His personal involvement in everything
Yes.
can put him a lot of pressure on him
Yes, very
because
nice.
he's
Yeah.
into everything.
Yes,
So
yes,
it may be okay when he has a small team, but when
yeah.
it becomes a big team, that may be a challenge for him.
Very nice, very nice. Very good. And if I can see a lot of comments also coming, so let me read some of the comment. Okay. His team will never be independent. Very good. He will get overloaded. Delete micromanagement. Okay. Dependency, current revives tomorrow. Okay. He will not let others grow. Very nice. Okay. Well, Arjun will learn, and with new situations, he will. Okay. Team loses chance to grow. Burnout. Okay. Very nice. Super.
Yeah,
So,
also it will make systems like you won't build the company for systems, and the Arjun will end up become the blocker and not build systems.
very nice, very nice. Super, super, very nice. Yeah. So good, very nice. I think a lot of answers which are coming, I think not flexible to new ideas. Yeah. Team loses confidence in him. Burnout, very nice. I think. Yeah. So I think we are like hitting the nail. Now, what we will do is we will try and see how people get into this trap, and how we can save ourselves into getting into that mode. So if you look at the Arjun success loop, right? How did it got formed? So if you look at it, I think very early on, how did he develop that identity? So in one of the meetings, I think when he was making a presentation, one of his managers said that maybe you should have. There were a couple of mistakes in his presentation, and he got a feedback from his manager that I think you should be careful about what have you been presenting. So what happens is that the first experience that he got, that mistakes were costly. So what he did is he started to interpret that good leaders prevent mistakes. So that was his interpretation about that experience, that mistakes were costly. Yeah, because in front of the management he made that mistake. Once that interpretation was there, that good leaders prevent mistakes, his belief was that I am responsible for quality. So every time I go for the next presentation, I need to make sure that I should ensure that the presentation is error free. So that is the belief that it kind of built in him. So see the experience that he got, the interpretation that he built, and then the belief that he formed. And the behavior after the belief was that every time there was something that he has to present or he has to send to the management or the customer, he will do like double checking of that. He will always correct. And that time he had a couple of team members, so he will always intervene to do a double check. And that behavior rewarded him because there were like very few surprises because the customer would not say have any comment about his input. So he was feeling very high about this way of thinking, and that built his identity that I am a dependable leader. So while and you can see how slowly this whole thing starts to take shape, and as we go in further down, we will start seeing that identity is so strong that it is very difficult for the person to go back where it started. Because then you start protecting your identity. That if I am dependable at every cost, I am, and we are not saying that as a leader you should be careless, but the approach that you are taking with your team has a big bearing on this. So how do you find that out? So there are like so the beliefs that we most need to examine are often beliefs that were once rewarded. So Imagine, as he starts growing, he has to start questioning his belief that, what, gave me the reward at that time, is that still valid as a reward for me right now? So there is this interesting concept called single loop versus double loop, and we will look at this very nicely, that the real question is not only how Arjun behaves, but why he needs the behavior like that. So in the single loop, he will continue to do the same thing again and again. So he will start doing, like he'll do more check, he will get another quality guy, he will put another system to check, he will put 15 more checklists, because that is single loop learning, because in the same belief system he is actually operating. Now, the double loop is, why do I believe this is necessary? Meaning, questioning the belief itself, because the question behind the action. So, why do I even need to do this? Is it necessary? Do I need to add some more quality people in that whole system? So, what happens with this whole idea of adding the double loop system is, then they start to see that, the same strength that I had created, is that actually creating a problem for me? So if you look that, if you look at when we will start to, examine our belief system, we will also see that, is that even necessary for do that? So having that thing is not a issue, that, the strength is real, and so is the shadow also. So when a strength is overused, which is the shadow that carries. So every strength will carry a shadow. So if you look at on the left hand side, the Arjun strength of decisiveness is good because it creates clarity. But what will happen if it is overused? The shadow is reduced ownership, because people think that let Arjun only decide now, जो सर decide करेंगे हम लोग कर लेंगे. He is so decisive. Second is, if he is holding so much of high standard, which is a strength, good. It improves the quality of product. But if it is overused, what will happen? People will stop innovating. It will create fear in their mind. Okay, what happens if I make a mistake? So they will not try anything new. If Arjun is always an expert who is there to solve everybody's problem, and people are there to go after him, if it is overused, what will happen? He becomes a bottleneck, because nobody is like taking anything forward, because they are always waiting for Arjun to give the final verdict. And last is that, while a manager has to be supportive, no question about it, and it helps build the connection, but if it is overused, it starts to rescue too much. So I'll take a pause here. Any thoughts, any reflections, anybody, on in your own experience, any strength that you have, when you overused, you had seen something like that, or any reflection that comes to your mind? Yeah, Padma, please. Yeah, you can raise the hand the way Padma raised, so that we can see you, and we can, yeah.
Well, this is brilliant, but how does one recognize that it has reached that kind of tipping point where we need to question the belief?
Yes. So we will dissect Arjun's case study even more. Absolutely. Very good question. And we will go and see inside how he can do that actually. Yeah. Very nice. Anybody else? Any thoughts, any reflections so far?
See, if person is very highly organized, he can be a bottleneck for his people. Too much structure.
Yes.
If the situation demands something to be chaos, he may
Yeah.
be, the strength he considers as organized, maybe a weakness.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes, Rahul.
Yeah, this the classic. Is it my way or highway?
Yeah.
So everything has to be done according to Arjun's point of view, Arjun's deliverables, even
Yes.
though the team works on it, but it always has to meet Arjun's demand. Whether it is meeting the business demand or what his leaders want, that's secondary, but it's what
Yes.
Arjun wants.
Absolutely. Very nice. Excellent. Yeah. Super. And so the idea here is that, if you see the just a second, I'll just put on. So if you see here, the danger is not having strength. The danger is having the strength, that have become automatic. Sushmita, you wanted to say something? Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of put it on the chat as well. So you said single loop and double loop.
Yes.
In your experience, the one slide before this, what are we talking about in terms of Arjun having the same strength, overusing it, and then that becoming a bottleneck? So, are we talking about the single loop as a better option or the double loop? I am a
Uh,
little not very sure about this particular bit.
yeah. So what happens, I'll tell you, if I were to look at the single loop, Arjun will continue to add more people for checking. He will add more people for getting high standards. He will add, more experts to come. But double loop is that, I mean, people are, in the current way they are working, they are actually good enough with the quality. Do I need to add more people for quality? Well, it is becoming so automatic for him. He is not even questioning some of this. So, for example, he is making decisions, right? And he is not even questioning whether do I need to make the decision or Sushmita himself can take a call.
Right.
It
So,
becomes
it
so
must be
automatic.
an extended. So, are we also saying that he is not ready to give that responsibility to somebody or delegate it? Then that
Very
is the
s-
bottleneck
so
even
the
more.
so Sushmita, the intellectually, if you ask anybody, the guy Arjun will also say, yes, I think people should decide. There is no question about that. But it's so automatic that it doesn't even recognize that because of his constant decision making, people are saying that why should we, and we don't need to decide. And there is no conflict with the team, by the way. Like team is not unhappy about that, but that is how the pattern has become. That they think they वो सारे decide करेंगे.
Understood.
That the sir also is very automatic, meaning it doesn't even question. So single loop is you're operating in the same belief system. Double loop is you're questioning the belief system. So all your strength that actually becomes overused has to be questioned. And the moment it becomes automatic, that we have to diagnose. And as we go along in this, so very good question was Sushmita, because this whole question itself is a question saying that, oh, am I doing this all right? And if it is becoming so automatic, there is a question. So what is happening is that the team starts orbiting Arjun. So he has got three direct reportees. So Mira, Kabir, and Leena. So while Kabir is a bright guy, but he constantly checks in with Arjun. Yeah, Leena has got great ideas, but he always waits for Arjun's view. Mira wants to lead, but can't lead because Arjun is there. So these three are there available, because what is happening is that if you look at these two scenarios, that when say one of them, Kabir or Lina, goes to Arjun, that I have drafted two options. Can you tell me which one you want to go with? And Arjun is in his mind thinking, why can't they make a decision without me? So his behavior is such the team is always wanting to, give his option, but in his mind, he's not even realizing that he is the one who has created this environment. And that we will, as we slowly go inside the case study, we'll start to see. And this is very subtle, meaning not even realizing. So the team is so used to Arjun always choosing the option. But what is Arjun thinking? Because Arjun is getting so busy, and somebody when we were asking in the initial time, people did say that he'll become a bottleneck. So whenever he's on a vacation, wherever he's always wanting to be reached out by the team. And he's not realizing that because of his behavior, that everything has to be error free. Everything should go through me. I should check once. Not that he's trying to be a very coercive manager. No, he is very nice as a person. But that one belief that he had earlier on, which he interpreted that I can never make a mistake, that made him behave where people are always wanting to ask him, sir, which option should we go with? Yeah. Because the team, Arjun thinks he's responding to dependency. He's also helping create it. So while he is thinking that team is always wanting to ask him, but actually he is the one who is doing this. Because the team has learned from him. So the leader's belief is I must maintain control because I can't make errors. What does the team adopt? take Arjun's approval. When they come constantly to him, what is Arjun thinking? They are not ready yet because they're always asking me to decide. And then his belief strengthens that, yeah, unless I am there, I don't think, we can maintain the same quality. Let me be there. So most leaders, look at only box number 3, which is they are not ready, but they don't look at the first 2 boxes. So you can see how the belief system that we started, how it starts to, build. And that is why the title of this webinar is that what are the leaders holding that is impacting the team. And the interesting part of this whole journey that we are going through, Arjun, is that it is so invisible. It is so rational. It is so logical. Meaning Arjun is not even realizing that because of his behavior, that is what is happening in the team. Because of this, there are two things that are running all the time. Meaning the it is becoming so evident that they are always Arjun is the central character in the whole journey, and there are constantly 2 stories that are running at the same time. So on the left hand side is what Arjun is seeing is that my team isn't taking ownership. What the team is learned from him is wait for Arjun before we decide anything. Whenever in a meeting, say if somebody gives a new idea, the Arjun sees that they are escalating too much. The Harch they are bringing it to me only. Because for everything that they are doing, there is a point of view that he carries, in the conversation with an intention to not develop his team like that. But that is what the team is, experiencing. What Arjun is saying that they are not thinking strategically. And what they are saying, anyway, sir, Arjun is deciding everything. Let's carry the risk that Arjun will do. Finally, he will not decide what has to be done. And last is, he thinks that people don't take ownership. But the team is learning that, quality matters more than ownership.
Quick question, Yogesh. The third point on the right hand side, what the team learned. Could you help me understand bring work, that point?
Yeah, because they are like not wanting anybody else. Maybe Sushmita's question before I answer. Anybody would like to take a shot at it on the third point? Bring work when it is safe. Where did they learn from Arjun? What behavior made that learn?
Too much of perfection.
to,
It
to make
led to
it error free.
people fear.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Josna, very nice. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, Raj.
To make it error free. If your Arjun wants everything error free.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, Sushmita, so that is how people are learning, meaning, so you can see how much of the belief that initially is formed that kind of manifest into the behavior that continues into the identity, and finally what the teams are learning from them. So nobody said that, don't take ownership, but the system taught it, meaning the daily behavior of Arjun taught them. And again, he didn't do anything on purpose. And again, I repeat, that it's not that Arjun never wanted, his team to be, like this the way they are, but they have become like this. And finally, what is going to happen is that what will hit Arjun's identity is that while he has been so good at his function, his quality check, error-free delivery, that when he goes to his boss and Arjun is expecting that he will get a bigger role. What does his boss say? That I can't move you yet because too much still depends on you. And Arjun is expecting that I should go for a larger role. What is Arjun's first reaction? That my team isn't ready yet. And if I step back, again that whole belief is coming back that अगर मैंने छोड़ दिया तो फिर कुछ नहीं होगा, मतलब quality will drop and the stakes are too high. Can you imagine what is happening here? So this is where it is hitting the identity when his boss says that you're not ready because there is too much of. So the boss is not questioning his capability. He is saying you're really good. There is no question about it. But your goodness is not being spread in the team that somebody else can take up that role from you. Yeah, Rahul.
Yeah, so this is a classic case which we see in internal audit. One of the things we check is the process driven or a people driven? And
Yes,
this is people driven because Arjun knows everything. Arjun drives it. Arjun needs approval. Arjun reviews. If Arjun is there, like you said, for sick leave, the team can't do anything,
yes,
right? So this is what we highlight to
absolutely.
the leadership team, saying that it should never be process driven. Arjun is there or not,
Yes,
Yogesh is there or not, Rahul is there or not, the business should run.
yes,
And
yes,
how the leader should look at it to create, the team, and to
yes,
identify the next leaders and to diversify his work, delegate
yes,
his work, and prep them so that when he
yes,
goes to the leaders saying that, hey, I want promotion because look, I have created a space who can take it up.
yes. But Rahul, the bigger challenge that I am seeing when I was going through the Arjun's case study is there is so difficult to find this out that, what is
Well
my
said.
identity?
Yes, like you said, it's absolutely, unless third person comes in and
Uh,
sees this, it's very difficult because you're in that circle. You're
yes,
accepted that this is my work, this is what I've built, I'm proud
yes,
of it, but you
yes.
don't know. You are in the cloud.
Yeah, yeah. And Rahul, just read this, and all of you guys also should read the tagline that defensiveness often protects a belief that once protected us. Can you imagine?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Meaning, like whatever, he is actually defending now. So even now, Arjun is finding it so difficult. He's putting the whole thing, despite this hitting his identity, he's still defending. No, no, I think if I go out, then who will take care of the quality? What will happen? There is too much of stakes that is happening. And this is where I think we have to start, and Padma initially asked us, how do you go about doing that? So far, what I've done is that I have created this whole importance of where it starts coming from, what are our experiences, what gets rewarded, how do we start holding on to that reward that creates our identity. So as we go along in the journey, the way we have to start kind of now examining our defensiveness is by separating our intention from the impact. And this is a very interesting way to start examining ourselves. That Arjun's intention was very noble. There is no question about that. Yeah, that he was wanting to protect quality and help the team succeed. But his behavior was constantly reviewing, constantly correcting, constantly advising. And there is a very beautiful book at the end. I'm going to recommend that book called The Advice Trap by Michael Bungay. One of the very good. And Michael says that I'm not saying that you should not be advising, but overusing the strength becomes a problem. And then the impact, that you have seen that people stopped exercising judgment because they always felt that, whatever Arjun says, we should do. Let Arjun correct, then we'll submit. Let Arjun review it, we'll submit. Let him advise what options we should choose. Let him come and step in, then we'll take the decision. So you can see how if we can examine our impact, and so many a times what happens in our journey is that we start to we start to protect our intention less and study our impact more. So when we can protect our intention less and study our impact more, that is where we will start to see that if I were to be in Arjun's place, and if I were to start seeing that why are not people taking their own decisions, then I will start to see because I am doing too much of correction, I am doing too much of advising. But we only continue with our intention and protect our intention. Yeah, and that is where, and these are like the subtle moments that we will have to deal with. And that is where this whole hidden commitment exercise can become helpful. And I know this is quite a deep, topic for us to kind of absorb and think about it. And I'll send you the deck, all of you, so you can take a look at it. But the idea here is that can I start looking at the behavior of my people around me and see if there is some clue I am getting from that to make my changes? And that is where the hidden commitment check should come in. So Arjun is unconsciously committed to protecting things that he should not be doing. So Arjun is claiming that I think he wants a team that should take more ownership. But what is he doing instead? He is staying involved in every decision. But if you are going to involve, then how will people take ownership? What worry does he carry that mistakes will reflect badly on me? And this is the experience that he got, maybe long time back, maybe a couple of years back when he made his first presentation. But that whole experience continues to create his identity. And my value depends on being the person who prevents failure, because he's also saying that if I am no longer the person with answers, what makes me valuable? Can you imagine? He's thinking that if I don't do all this, is there a value that I'm providing to organization? So it's a very interesting and very deep, thing that we have to start thinking, that like, whatever, I am carrying with me is actually stopping, not only me, but the team for the growth. Because when Arjun doesn't get promoted to a higher level, so does his team, so these are like some of the areas that we can start going through. So looking at our hidden commitment check, looking at our behaviors of people rather than the intention can give us a lot of insights the way we have it ourselves. Yeah. So now I think we have 30 days, that Arjun is given now, and I want you all to also help Arjun here. So no, he can't add like more coaching. He can't, get more training on delegation. He can't do, more advisory. He can't do more process. But what can he subtract now? What do you think can he subtract now? So you can only subtract what no longer serves growth, but you can't add more anything. Because if you work in his own belief system, then he'll keep doing more checking. He will keep taking more delegation training. He will, do more advice, but he can't do that. For next 30 days, we are telling him, बस ये सब नहीं करना है आपको. So what can you subtract? What are your thoughts? What should he become less true because he's leading differently now? So any thoughts, you can either raise your hand or you can put it in chat. Any thoughts on what should Arjun start subtracting? Very nice. I think Padma's question is very beautiful. I think that checks very nicely. Yeah. Yeah, Satish.
Sir, what I feel I remember this Pareto principle. The 80% of activities gives 20% of results. So and 20% of activities must give. So he has to ascertain exactly which are the important activities that he has to look after exclusively, and which are the activities that he has to allocate to their team, and so that team also performs well, and he also
Right.
takes his kind of leading, which can bring him some kind of clarity in his
Very nice.
performance. Yes, sir.
Very nice. Very nice. Brilliant. Brilliant. Thanks, Satish, for such. And I can see some of the chat also very nice. I think so. The 30-day subtraction experiment, and you can also see for yourself. Where are you also in the current journey for you? So I think as you start experimenting 30 days, I think he should not be immediately answering in the team meeting. So assuming that somebody is asking you a question that can we submit this, you should not quickly answer, but you should ask them, what do you think can we do about this? Yeah. And many a times earlier he would, even if the decision is all right, he would still want to go and discuss and reopen and give his views. And there is a very nice book. I'm recommending 3 or 4 books, and one of them is very quite a long time Marshall Goldsmith book. What got you here won't get you there, and it has got some very interesting things that he has talked about. That I think if the team's decision is good enough, don't try to because otherwise what happens is that if you start opening up, the delegated thing doesn't look to be real. They'll say anyway, sir तो आके पूछेंगे फिर से तो छोड़ो. Why should I even put my brains around that? Anyway, he's going to open that decision. Let me not decide. Yeah. And earlier he would go and attend every meeting, and I saw that in the comment also. They understand the decision owners, and it is all connected to the first 2 point also, because you're letting people decide, you're sending the decision over, you're letting the delegation, the decision taken to be honored. And not every time you have to rescue your team, meaning it's okay to let people experience manageable consequences, because if you're overprotecting, again, they'll become too dependent on you all the time. Yeah. So you're answering this, exchange. So, and the last is like don't get copied in every email that is happening in the organization, but have a clear escalation criteria that when there is a situation that you need me, you do that. So the bigger thing is, the old question was, how do I make them perform better? And the new question is, what am I preventing them from practicing? I just want you all to reflect on this question one more time. What do I make them, how do I make them perform better is the old question. A new question is, what am I preventing them from practicing? Meaning the onus is on Arjun, that whatever he was doing on the left hand side was preventing them from practicing, from becoming a capable team. Yeah. So if you look at Arjun's new identity, so if you look at Arjun's new identity, so the new identity is that I am valuable because people become more capable around me. The old identity was I am valuable because people need me. Can you reflect for a minute on this very interesting old identity versus the new identity? And the tagline also, that letting go is not giving up responsibility. It is changing where responsibility lives. And this is a very, very interesting shift that Arjun will have, where he is not trying to abandon his people. He's still there, there's no question about it. But not the places where he's not needing. He's not overusing his strength. He's not using the shadow. Because he's making people. So imagine, as he shifts his identity, and when the next round of conversation happens with his boss, he will have more than one people ready to be taken at his level. So we are not telling people to let go. And then the practice moment starts. If you look at the way Arjun starts to practice, and this is not easy, because you can imagine that the old urge will still come up. So when Kabir says to Arjun that we have got two possible approaches, what do you think? Old Arjun will immediately answer, let's go with the first one. The new Arjun is saying, what do you think? And three signs that Arjun can really see that he is progressing is that he notices the urge to correct. So the moment, and I mean, we can apply all this in our own lives as leaders, or in your own organization for HR, to see for your team or managers or leaders within your organization. When you notice the urge to correct and is stopping that, is the progress. He asks before advising. So many times leaders assume that I'm already always listening. So they don't even ask their context. They start advising without the context. And then you saw that loop, right? How the team starts to learn from your behavior. They start to say, बस बोल के कोई फायदा नहीं है. Better whatever boss is saying, let's do that. And he allows decisions that are happening to move forward, not adding too much of value unnecessarily. So providing answers to building judgment in the people is the journey he is embarking on that. And this is where, Sushmita, when you ask this question, Padma, when you ask this question, this is how in the daily moment, and the team will now start orbiting Arjun differently now. So the same people who were not deciding will start to decide. The same people who were not sharing ideas in the room will start to share ideas, because they know that if I take the idea, I think it will get implemented. Earlier, not that Arjun wanted to dominate, but Arjun just, by nature, he had the strength of making sure that everything goes all right. And hence, people were not developing the judgment. People were always waiting for him. So this is the new Arjun that is going to. Yeah, yeah, Raj. Yes. Sushmita, please. Yeah.
Raj can go ahead.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
tell later.
Or I don't know. Raj, I think Raj is just only I saw his mic going unmute, but
Sorry, it
maybe.
was by mistake. I was not going to ask
No
anything.
worries, no worries, no worries. Yeah, I think Sushmita, you can go and then Padma.
Great, thanks. So this is where we are talking about Arjun working on his own self. You
Yes,
know, when we are talking about the change, particularly
yes,
from an experience where he, there is no doubt about his intention of giving a good productivity.
yes,
But then how long can he actually do it by his own self? He
yes,
definitely has to get a team under him. Now
yes.
the entire, and I kind of put it on a lighter note, he definitely reminds me of Amitabh Bachchan from Mohabbatein, when you're very strict on certain things and it
Yes,
will not go past. However, there is this risk management where he has to probably accept a fact that team members will make a mistake. Still, he has to abide by them or stand
yes,
up for them. We have seen cases in past where the team manager, as in Arjun for that matter, will put his hands up and say, "See, I did trust you and you did not keep my trust.
yes.
Some that's the reason I don't give you the the responsibility." We
So,
have
so
seen that.
yeah, so Sushmita, what is happening is that, and glad that you brought this up. So, this is where again we are going back to the same identity that Arjun had. So, even if there is a manageable mistake that has happened, in the second loop, I think they will learn. They will pick it up, and the ownership will become even more stronger. So it's worth getting that error, because clients are also forgiving if they realize that it is doing for the betterment of their future. You're creating some feature that will help the customer. So you can start getting the change in the team the way they kind of start to manifest in the organization. Yeah, yeah, Padma.
So I was just looking at the screen.
Yes,
Two possible approaches. What do you think? And when you Arjun asks, what do you think?
yes,
Wondering if it would be better for Arjun to respond with saying, tell me the pros and cons of both the approaches.
yes, 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 absolutely. So that, I think, the moment you start having the conversation with the team where they starts to open up and they start to think, you'll start seeing many more solutions that Arjun himself would not do. There's a limitation how much Arvind was able to do it on his own. Whereas here he is letting people build their own judgment, build their own thinking. Yeah. Yeah, Vijay.
Yeah, sir. Just want to share a personal experience as well on the same
Yes.
context.
Yes.
So, whenever we discuss the ideations with the team, right, when like we ask them suggestions or points,
Yes.
whatever, what do you think?
Yes.
How do you
Yes.
think it should be done and all?
Yes.
But initial push definitely we should be giving from our end, because I myself has seen a lot of times people saying, why can't Vijay answer my question? Why should I think for this thing? My
Yes.
productivity is impacting. My
Yes.
time is getting lost. So those kind of things will be there initially, but that push,
Yes.
if we give, it's okay. You think about it. We will take care of the things. That's
Yes.
not a big worry to her or a concern. So that
Right.
kind of thing, then definitely better judgment or better ideation or better thoughts will come up,
Yes.
and that will improve the ownership, and the results is what I'm seeing
Yes. Yes.
in my team as well, compared to a few months back, and now there is a bigger difference. So just wanted to
Brilliant.
share that.
Brilliant. No, no, very nice, Vijay. Very nice. And Vijay, what has happened is that with all good intention, we have too many Arjuns around us.
Right.
So, because, the identity is so strong that, getting to really go back and find out where the belief system started, what I got rewarded, is the really crux of this whole session today, and this framework is so nice, slowly, slowly it is building up so that at the end, each one of us can look at our own hidden commitment check, look at
Yeah.
what is stopping us from that, and maybe if you can take all this and run this same webinar with your teams,
Right.
then it can become so powerful that the team member can themselves tell you that, hey, Vijay,
They can
yeah,
reflect.
let me decide. Now you told me that after the webinar you let me decide. Why are you then not doing that?
Yes,
So
yes.
if you become so vulnerable, it becomes so powerful, because all said and done, we human beings fall into that automatic track very easily, So becoming more conscious about that is a very nice question. Yeah. So very nice. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, Rahul. Yeah.
I'm
I'm so
sorry, I
glad.
noticed that
Yeah.
we are at time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just one question, Yogesh. Have we
Yeah.
deliberately left out the possibility of an angle that Arjun is thinking that, I should not promote someone? What if they become a threat to my position? Right? Let's be real. We are in corporate world. We have people in those systems, right? So there are
Yeah.
some managers, leaders who are like that.
Yes.
Maybe
Yes.
he's not. Subconsciously, it
Yes.
is, right? That what
Possibly.
if what if he rises so quickly, he or she rises so quickly that my position becomes a threat and he overtakes me?
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. But I mean, if you look at really the research, the shortage of leadership is so high that even if you don't get promoted in that organization, if you become the new Arjun, there are 10 more organizations that are willing to take you.
Mhm.
So, so that we should tell people that you have to have no threat because there is a severe shortage of leaders in the world, So if you are actually building a leadership, there are 10 more organizations that can help you do that. Yeah. So that is, we should keep promoting this research to people that there is enough and more opportunity for people who are really capable. Yeah. So this is an exercise that, I want you all to, do it, not right now, but you can take some time at your leisure, but you can take a screenshot of this right now before the PPT comes to you. So all of you can take the screenshot of this, this whole, because it is in some form kind of summarizing, whatever we have done, and it's a very nice way for you to see that, like, like what is that, the belief or the assumption that you're carrying right now, and what is that one behavior or habit that you will, stop in front of your team, and how will you create space for your team to demonstrate new behavior. So imagine what could your team become capable of it if you become less central. And as Rahul, I was saying, there is too much of opportunities available that one can do that. Yeah. So take a picture of this. All of you can take a picture before the deck comes to you, and this is like our closing slide where kind of there's a very beautiful journey that we have gone through, right? We saw that how that success that Arjun got created a belief in him, that became a strength to him, and then he started overusing and created a lot of dependency in the team. And then he did this 30-day subtraction exercise, which means he started not giving too many answers. He will started to not, always make the decisions, ask, helping create judgment, and that is where the growth started happening. So, in the final case, Mira was leading a team, and he was leading a meeting, and she makes a call Arjun would not have made, So this is something very different that she decided to go ahead. And as we say, right, old culture takes time, old habits die hard. So everybody start looking at Arjun. So if it was old Arjun, he would have just stepped in and, hey, let's not do this or let's do this, whatever, right? But the new Arjun said, it's your call. And that is how the team started now orbiting differently, because they started to realize it's okay for us to give ideas, it's okay for us to take calls, because Arjun is still available, but we can go ahead and make our Arjun. So, what leaders refuse to let go of is often an identity that once made them successful. Now, you all have to see for yourself, what is your identity that you are still holding on to, and see. And this is like a never ending journey for all of us as leaders. We have to constantly be checking on how we are doing that. Yeah. And then here is a very nice infographic that I've created for all of you, and this kind of summarizes the whole session very beautifully, starting with where we started. We started like how beliefs are formed, and how the same strength can become a constraint, and how leaders' beliefs show up in team behavior. Because while we may keep telling that my team is like this, my team is like that, but how does a team become is from the behavior that they are experiencing from us. And we have to constantly examine our defensiveness. So when Arjun is trying to blame his team or the company or whatever for he didn't get the promotion, I think he has to examine where is it coming from. And that examine can be done through the exercises that we talked about, like the hidden commitment check that you can do. And as I was telling in the beginning, that this is something not so easy to, like when we are doing a 1 hour, 1.5 hour webinar, it is still okay for many of you to look at it that it is easy, maybe we can figure that out. But when you actually go back into your own workplace and start doing it, it is very difficult to find that, because it looks so logical. It should look so natural that it becomes so automatic. So we have to start examining that. And I think the fifth one is that don't add too many in the single loop. If it is single loop, then you'll keep adding more and more checks. You will keep doing whatever you're doing. But if it is double life, you're subtracting a lot of things. So it is not about adding, but it is about subtracting. And there is a very nice book also, I'll talk about it. And then last is that what will you let go, in your own context, in your own journey. Yeah. So as you can see, there is a beautiful slide. You can take a printout of this on a color page or whatever, and you can refer this, share with your leaders in the organization, run this for your organization. And these are some very interesting books that I've read, and I think will be very useful to all of you. So if you look at Adam Grant, is one of my favorite researchers, professor. He has written many books, and one of them, which is relevant in this context, is Think Again, which again Marshall Goldman I spoke about. Multiplier is a very interesting book by Liz Wiseman. So he talks about how unintentionally managers many a times diminish talent, and they don't multiply talent. So you can do that. Lisa Leahy and Roger Keegan have done a fantastic job on immunity to change. So we have also done a lot of programs on emotion intelligence. And uh, if you can combine emotional intelligence with this uh, webinar, can become very powerful for you to reflect. And then last two is the advice trap. Spoke about Michael Bungay and Turn the Ship Around, which is again a very fantastic book by David Marget. So these are the 6 books that you can maybe buy that. Yeah. So and this is my last slide, and thank you so much for the session. I'll just unshare, and maybe we can open up for any thoughts, any reflections, that you have. Yeah, thanks, Mayank. I'm glad you liked. Thanks. Yeah. So any thoughts? Yeah, Shashikant, thank you. Yeah, Satish. Yeah, I know. अरे बस बहुत ज़्यादा thumbs up आ रहे. So
Very enlightening. Thank you so much.
yes, yeah, Chaturvedi sir, how are you?
Sorry, I joined a little late,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
then
yeah. So good. Yeah, so I think I think I'll send this deck to all of you. You guys can
kindly. Yes,
run
that
this, internally in your organization. And if you want to, so we also have this as a 1 day workshop where we go into details of bringing EI together along with this, bringing some aspect. And I was sharing that we always custom create the journeys for our customers. So any help that you need anytime, you can reach out to any of us. There is, I think, also you would have seen the WhatsApp messages that WhatsApp group that Bhavna has been posting. So you all can also join that group. If you can click on
I'll
that
do
and
that.
join.
I'll
Yeah,
do that. Sure.
yeah. So you can actually.
In fact, I would like to visit you once.
Yeah, please.
I'll do that. I'll do that sometime.
Yeah, please come. Yeah, and then in that WhatsApp group, we keep sending you
Sure.
articles, videos, and
I'll do that.
you can get doing that. Yeah. So good. Thank you so much for all of you joining. Any last question anybody has before we close? And I mean, I have kept myself free for a few minutes more. So you guys want to stay back, talk about it, good. But otherwise, I think from a webinar perspective, we are done for now. Yeah, Padma.
I just want to share, Yogesh, that this was a very refreshing format. As compared to the earlier webinars, using a case study and then talking through the various stages that Arjun goes through is really very thought-provoking.
Yeah, it's a well, and this topic, Padma, was like in some form, in a way it was easy, in a way it was very difficult. So I didn't know how to, bring this up, and I didn't want to make it theory. So I thought, let's bring in four characters. And as I was building this, I realized that it is so much. I myself, when I am visualizing my own journey at Wipro, I wish I had a webinar like this where I could see how can I check myself. So very helpful the way this has kind of come out. And I think all of us, not only in our professional life, I think even at home, I think we give too many advices to people. I think we should stop doing that, and just listen to people more. Yeah, and that is how it is. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yogeji, you said so aptly. In fact, this was the story. In fact, I was also thinking that this kind of webinar, if I had gone 15 days, 15 years ago, it would have become a different kind of, no. It was so wonderful, and it was quite encouraging kind of stories and the examples you shared, and it's a quite eye-opening. Because even still, sort of, we sometimes out of our own insecurities, withheld kind of certain functions from our team. So it really the great contributions, and we can certainly can look into those aspects more detailed, and we'll see how we can still improve for the years what are left with us. Thank you.